Hi guys, yes, I just want to clarify that this entire video is reverse psychology and I'm just using it so that you guys all idolize me after this and view me as your god. Okay, so I'm on the floor again, so that's how you know I have something to say, because I don't have anything to say when I'm sitting in a chair or anywhere else. Okay, so I've kind of touched on this a few times about my belief that it's not really a good idea to idolize influencers, celebrities, or people in general, to be honest. And I've read the comments responding to that, and a lot of people were like, but Nicole, this person has helped me. Being a part of this fandom has been so good to me. I've made friends because of this. I'm a happier person because I'm a huge fan of this person. I hear you. I completely hear you. I used to be a huge stan of so many people. I still am. I still literally am. I literally have a band poster up there. I have a good chunk of my wall, that entire side of my wall is covered in prints. I own this candle of Prince as Jesus. Yeah, I do idolize some celebrities. They're all men, conveniently as well, so I don't know what's really wrong with my noggin there. But even when I was little, my entire walls were covered in Chris Brown. Just imagine how that went down when I found out in the 4th grade what he did. But my infatuation and idolization of these people led me down a really dark hole once those people turned out to be not so great people. That's why I kind of just want to sit down, have a conversation, give you my thoughts on why we need to stop idolizing influencers, celebrities, people, etc. For the greater common good. And if anything comes from this video, I want to encourage you to learn to appreciate people's work more than the person themselves. Okay? Before we get started into this video, make sure that you subscribe if you want to be nasty. If not, you're disgusting. Also make sure you have your bell notifications on so you know every single time I post, or else you are gross. Like the love that I professed for FoodieTube when I was literally like 13 years old and he was like a 25-year-old man. But anyway, for anyone that's been wondering what highlighter I've been using recently, it's called Post Grad Glow. Thank you. I still have an issue with idolizing people to this day. I'm not exempt from this. I'm not like holier than thou by any means. For anyone who knows me personally, especially my best friend Kaylee, we kind of call them like phases of my life. It's a phase. It was literally a phase, Mom. We always joked about how when I was doing really bad mentally, or when I was trying to ignore something major happening in my life, I picked up a celebrity and I would use them as like a little crutch during the hard time in my life. Like I said before, FoodieTube, probably a hard time in my life. It was middle school. It's hard for everyone. I used to have a fat crush on Heath Hussar, and it was like a very extended, I don't want to talk about Prince. I used Prince as a coping mechanism for my first big breakup. Literally, I was mourning Prince's death much more than I was the actual relationship. I love Prince to death still, don't get me wrong. Like, I fucking love Prince to death, but yeah, major crutch. Avin Jogia, Claudia Sulewski, Billie Eilish. When I list those names, I don't mean like, oh, you're a fan of them. I mean like, if you asked me where they were born, what hospital, perhaps, you know, their birth chart, I could probably give it to you. But you want to know something that I noticed about all of these people once I started getting really into them? I would study them, I would research about them, I would watch every single interview video, I would become infatuated with these people, and then once I knew a lot about them, I stopped liking them. Slowly but surely, I would just become a little bit disgusted with them at one point or another. If a new song from them came out, I'd be like, I don't really want to listen right now because I feel like that's like homework. It feels like a chore. Like for someone who had a very extensively long 21 Pilots phase, yeah, I didn't listen at all to their second album. And I would just like these people less and less with time. And I've been trying to understand why that is, what's going on with me, and I think I finally understood it. I started seeing these people as human, and then as soon as I learned that they had a flaw, or they made a mistake, or they fucked up in life somehow, I immediately was like, oh my god, that's not who I'm a fan of. Like, I don't recognize this person. I don't really like this person anymore. And I would just stop being obsessed with them, and then I wouldn't want anything to do with them ever again. And I'm not talking about like something major like Chris Brown fucking up. I'm talking about like, I watched a very old video of them and they forced their laugh in a video, and I was like, oh my god, that's gross. I don't like that person. That's an ick. Like, why was I suddenly turned off from a person in general because I saw them as human? When I was writing the notes for this video, I was not going to include names in this portion, but I feel like why not? Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge fan of Claudia Sulewski. I love her. She's a big inspiration of mine. And I love her podcast with Phineas. Rest in peace to the podcast. It's on pause indefinitely. They've been doing the podcast for almost a year. I was obsessed with it. I loved it. And I didn't think that I could love Claudia and Phineas anymore when I started listening to the podcast, but I was wrong. I just continued to love them more and more. And then recently in a podcast episode, Phineas kept going on his phone while Claudia was talking, and Claudia was annoyed. And in my head, I immediately was like, I don't like Phineas anymore. I'm not a fan. I don't even like this podcast anymore. That's crazy to me because I myself as a person will sometimes be on my phone while I'm on FaceTime with my boyfriend. You know what I mean? I started to dislike Phineas for something that we all do. Something that we all fuck up and make a mistake and isn't the politest thing to do. And immediately I was like, how could he do this? Because I already saw him as a person on a pedestal and above me. And so I was like, how could he make such a massive mistake? Any mistake that seems ordinary to us is suddenly blown up if it's a person who has a massive platform. I had to like step away from that situation and be like, Nicole, I think you know too much about their lives. Like, I think at this point, you know too much about, you know, their relationship because of the podcast. You know a little bit too much about these little annoyances that are happening to Claudia, and you're suddenly taking them too personal, and now you don't like Phineas anymore. And this completely solidified my theory that I tend to like celebrities a lot less once I stop seeing them as this person who cannot be touched and more as a human being just like me. And I know that we all say that we like vloggers and influencers and YouTubers because they're showing us their personal lives, but I guarantee you that if you started seeing so much of their personal lives to the point where it was uncomfortable for the viewer, but it was just raw and honest, we wouldn't like anyone. But I will get into that point later about YouTubers who say they're exactly the way that they are on camera. I'll get into that. So one thing that I'm seeing from a lot of fans of people is that they become extremely hypercritical of the person that they are a fan of. I applaud people for wanting to hold others accountable. I applaud them for trying to make the world a better place. I understand that they have pure intentions. But for example, I'll see a lot of fans begging for their favorite person to publicly apologize for something. I'm not talking about like apologizing for massive things. I'm talking about apologizing for quite minuscule things in the grand scheme of things, but because it is the internet, it's a lot bigger and people want them to apologize. I don't know how to say this without being too blunt, but if you are having to beg someone to apologize, it's not an apology then. Why would you want someone to apologize if you have to ask them to? You know what I mean? Like, let's say that my boyfriend hurt me and I have to beg him to apologize. I don't want that apology. Like, that's a forced apology. I don't even want it. And so whenever I do see on Twitter that a lot of stans are asking people and they're like, please apologize for this, I'm like, whoa. What the fuck? It's snowing, but I don't know what that was. That was not, snow doesn't sound like that. And I will be honest, I see a lot of this coming from especially young people. When I say young people, I mean people usually under the age of 18, 17, a lot of 13-year-olds, to be honest. I will give them credit though, because like how many of those BTS stans who were definitely under the age of 18 and were minors definitely were the people responsible behind taking Donald Trump's rally and completely filling up all the seats because they found out that if they reserve a seat and they, you know, don't actually show up, that no one will show up to his rally. Anyway, shout out to you guys. This is just a message to like my younger viewers who may be stans of someone and are utilizing a lot of their free time to be asking for their favorite creators to apologize for something or trying to hold these people accountable. Don't waste your energy to an extent. There's so much life to live and enjoy your time not expecting for older adults to act more responsibly. I say this out of love. I remember what it was like being 13 or younger on the internet and worrying about FouseyTube when he was sad on Twitter. And me spending hours concerned online being like, is this grown man okay? I want to help him so bad, because he would post like a cryptic tweet. While yes, I was a caring 13-year-old, I also wish that I stepped away from the computer and hung out with my friends rather than worrying about someone who didn't know I existed, didn't care, and also turned out to not be the best person ever. I'm not encouraging you to be heartless, but I am encouraging you to worry a little bit more about yourself and your happiness rather than an influencer online. However, back to the overly critical thing, I do think it's really important to understand that these are just normal people and not machines, and that they will also make mistakes. You know, I'm not talking about racism once again, because racism is not a mistake and should not be a part of your, you know, puberty, like a lot of people claim. But then there is also another side of being a fan where you see someone as so godlike that they could really do no wrong. A huge example of this right now is everything to do with COVID and influencers. I cannot tell you how many times I will see a TikTok of an influencer hanging out with a bunch of friends, a bunch of people, no masks in sight, and people will comment and be like, aren't we literally in a pandemic? Like, I've been quarantining since last March. I haven't seen anyone. And a lot of younger kids will respond, and I know they're younger kids because I will go to your profile and it says 14. And I read their comments on comments like this, and they're like, shut up, they probably got a test, they're probably already quarantining with them, this is probably in their quarantine pod, they're probably quarantining together. That's like everyone's excuse always. We're quarantining together. How many people are you quarantining with? 17 people? That's not how that works. And people defending them to absolutely no end. And I think that the issue is at hand is that not seeing these people as human, not thinking that they could even make a mistake when they likely are. I'm telling you this right now, if you're seeing an influencer or a YouTuber hanging out with a bunch of people, making videos with a ton of people, they don't care about you. They don't care if your family dies from COVID. They don't care if someone in their own circle gets COVID. They don't care because friends equal content and content equals money. And if people were able to see that these influencers are also people and think critically, like, these people also fuck up and these people are fucking up right now, then maybe we would stop defending people who don't deserve to be defended at all. Those people will not ride for you like you ride for them, okay? And like I said before, I see both sides. I see the side of being a fan. I am currently a fan of many people, and I was huge fans of so many people when I was really young in the beginning of my teen years. However, I did also just gain a following like a year ago. This is all still so new to me, and I don't think I'll ever quite really get used to it, to be honest. I will forever see myself as me. Just me, Nicole Rafiee, human. Nobody in my life sees me as different ever since I got a following, and the only people that see me different are the people who follow me and maybe, I don't like using this word, are fans of me and support me and are subscribers or followers or whatever. And I think a good chunk of them also do see me as human. Hopefully. But I can also see by the fact that I do have a large amount of younger viewers, and by my messages and by my comments, that there is a large chunk of people who do no longer see me as human, and I am simply just a business and a machine that outputs content twice a week. This is where I get into people who say, I'm exactly the same person who I am online as in real life. That's a very long quote. I've said this before in a video, and I worry that I disappointed people by saying this, but I'd like to clarify a little bit more. I said in the past that I'm not exactly in real life who I am in videos, and I think majority of the people online are likely the same but won't say it. I think the only person who is exactly the same person that they are online in real life is Trisha Paytas, because she will post a 40-minute video of just raw, unedited, and from what we've seen, it likely is that that's just her. A troll most of the time, but a lot of it is just her. I see so many nice messages of people being like, oh my god, I wish that we could be friends in real life, and I'm here to tell you that I would disappoint you, and I would not live up to your expectations. In real life, I'm not always giving out life advice. I mean, I am giving a lot of unsolicited life advice, but holy shit, do I need a lot of advice in my real life. And in my videos, I may seem very confident and fun, but I can promise you that in real life, I have a lot of self-confidence issues I'm still working through, and I'm only fun for about 4 minutes of the day. I don't know why 4, but that is just the magic number that was given to me about how much fun time I have in a day. And I say all of this not to be like, I'm just like you, I'm normal. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this because I find it really hard to believe that people are saying that they're the exact same person that they are on camera in real life, because do you know how much editing goes into a video? How many people script their videos? I personally don't script my videos, but I write notes for it. You know what I mean? Like, my thoughts are not this organized. How much is pre-planned? How much is cut out of a video? How much is added into a video? So what I'm trying to say is that anyone who says that they're the exact same person, that's not true. That's not true at all. I know a few influencers in real life, and while all the ones that I have in my life I love deeply, they are very different than who they are online and what they choose to put out there. That doesn't make them a bad person. That doesn't make them fake for how they portray themselves online. We all portray ourselves differently online, but I think there becomes an issue when people start to idolize us or see us as better than them, when in reality this is a very edited and polished version of ourselves. So while I spent so much time and many years feeling like shit because I wasn't like Claudia Sulewski, here I am realizing, oh yeah, her relationship isn't perfect either, and guess what? Who she is online is also a very edited version of herself. And once I realized all of that and started humanizing these people around me, I realized, holy shit, this is a whole lot better than viewing them as holier than me, godlike, perfect, you are my idol. Personally, I had my first aha moment that I'm not seen as a person anymore. I talked about this before in a video, but it still sticks with me to this day because it fucking hurt. I used to try and read and reply to all of my Instagram DMs before because I really wanted to interact with everyone. I just can't do that anymore because once you start reading too much shit about yourself, it's just not healthy for the brain. And I had time one morning, and so I was reading messages, and someone sent in a DM that was not so kind, kind of insinuating something about me that wasn't true, and I just wanted to clarify it, and I nicely did so, and this person was pissed at me because I never responded to their messages before. And that shit hurted because this person was from my college, even though I didn't know them personally. And suddenly, because I never responded to this person when they asked me what apartment building I lived in, I was seen as a bad person to this other person because they felt like I owed them something and I didn't give it to them. And that was my aha moment that really stuck out to me, that I was like, oh fuck. I'm no longer seen as a college student, a person, a human being who goes through shit, who doesn't check their DMs, who makes mistakes, and I am someone who has to owe people a response to a DM about asking what apartment I lived in. I also see this on TikTok. A very specific example is a regular degular girl posted, like, no following on TikTok or anything. I remember one day she posted a video about hydrocolloid patches and how she really, really likes them for her skin and how she put them on all over her face, and she was gonna do a part 2 whenever she woke up, I guess. The For You page found it, and she got so many likes, thousands of comments being like, where the fuck is part 2? Why are you keeping us waiting? This is ridiculous. Basically expecting her to upload it faster, calling her names, like being so rude to her, only for her to come on later and being like, I just got off my shift at the hospital, saving lives. Why do people feel so incredibly entitled just because there was a number attached to her video? The number being the amount of likes, comments, shares. She was already seen as someone who was put on a pedestal and owed people something. This girl couldn't even live her normal life and work at the hospital because we live in a world where people want instant satisfaction and gratification, and if someone promised something, especially on the internet, they need it now. And God forbid that that person is a real human being with a real life. If there's anything I've learned with getting older is that I don't owe anyone anything and no one owes me anything. Of course, I would love kindness and respect, and I always try to give that to others, but someone's time is not something that is promised. So at the end of the day, I completely understand why people want to romanticize and idolize their faves. But boy, does that shit hurt when they do let you down. Like, for example, Patrick Starr, the makeup guru. I used to love him many, many years ago. I loved watching him do his makeup. And now he's at fucking Nikita Dragon's pussy birthday party making out with Tana Mojo in a pandemic. I don't love you, Patrick Starr. And are there people who are defending Patrick Starr and Nikita and all of those people to no end? Absolutely. Anyway, a good rule of thumb that I am trying to incorporate more into my life lately is stop idolizing people. Be inspired by their work, appreciate their art, but learn to idolize your damn self and not random people on the internet or celebrities or just about anyone else. So I hope that this video made some sort of sense, because I just have this massive issue that whenever I make one of these sit down videos, that my brain, it just continuously sounds like this. I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure that you leave it a like because it helps me out so much. Also leave a comment on if you agree with me or not. Are you a stan of someone? Are you gonna stan until you die? Or Or you hopping on the boat of just idolizing your damn self. Make sure that you also subscribe if you want to be nasty. If not, you're disgusting. Also make sure you have your bell notifications on so you know every single time I post, or else you are gross. New episode of Talk Nasty to Me podcast, as well as I Saw Your Tweet, Are You Okay podcast every single week. If you want to follow me on my other social media like Instagram, Twitter, Depop, Spotify, it's just at Nicole Rafiee. And if you want to follow me on my TikTok, it's at Nikki Nasty. I'm gonna go now. Hope that the reverse psychology worked. Hope that all of you minions are now here for life. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.